Previously on my story, I was born a twin in the village of Ekamini, a place where twins were seen as a curse. I was taken to the forbidden forest to be buried alive, but a hunter named Baba Chitty heard my cries and saved me, raising me as his own in a distant village. 22 years later, on his deathbed, he revealed the truth about who I really was. Now, standing at a crossroads with nothing but a name, a village, and a promise to myself, I begin my journey back to the people who tried to erase me. This is part 2. I did not return to Ekamini the week after burying Baba Chitty. I understood, even in my grief, that arriving broken and angry would only prove to the village everything they already believed about cursed children, that we were unstable, dangerous, unworthy of dignity. I wanted to arrive undeniable. Baba Chitty had left me his small farmland and the modest savings he had built over a lifetime of hunting and trading. It was not a fortune, but it was enough, combined with scholarships I fought hard to earn, to get me into a university in the city, nearly 2 days' journey from Umuahia. I chose to study law, not because I dreamed of courtrooms as a child, but because Baba Chitty's final words echoed in me constantly. Let it come from strength, not bitterness. I realized that the greatest revenge against a cruelty built on outdated superstition was not violence. It was justice, enforced by a system more powerful and more permanent than any village elder's decree. For 4 years, I studied harder than almost anyone in my class. I read about child protection laws that existed on paper across the country, but were rarely enforced in remote villages like Ekamini. I read about other communities that had once practiced twin killing and had eventually abolished it, sometimes peacefully through education, sometimes only after intervention by outside authorities. When I finally graduated, top of my class, I still did not go home immediately. I needed to know exactly what I was walking into before I set foot in Ekamini again. I used my legal training and a few careful connections to begin investigating Ekamini from a distance. An old trading partner of Baba Chitty's, a woman named Mama Uch, still had family living near Ekamini and agreed to help me gather information discreetly, without revealing who was asking or why. Through her, I learned that my mother, Ngozi, was still alive, now in her 50s, living quietly and rarely leaving her compound, said by neighbors to carry a permanent sadness that never lifted, even after all these years. I learned that my father, Abana, had passed away 8 years earlier from a lingering illness, one that some older villagers still whispered was punishment from the gods for the family's earlier sin of producing twins. But the most shocking discovery came almost by accident. Mama Uch mentioned, in passing, that Ngozi had a daughter still living with her, a young woman rarely seen outside the compound, said by some to be sickly, by others simply to be shy. Something about the description made my chest tighten, in a way I could not explain. I had a sister. My twin sister, Amara, was alive. Mama Uch later helped me understand why. After I was taken, my mother had refused to let history repeat itself with any other child. When Amara showed early signs of a minor childhood illness, something that could have easily been twisted into new suspicions of a curse by superstitious neighbors, my mother made the painful decision to hide her, raising her almost entirely within the walls of our family compound, rarely allowing her to be seen publicly, terrified that the village might turn on her the way it had turned on me. For 22 years, my sister had lived a kind of half-life, protected, but imprisoned by the very fear that had once tried to kill me. I returned to Ekamini, not as the lawyer I had become, and certainly not as the baby who had been left for dead in its forest, but under the quiet cover of a land inheritance consultant, a legitimate profession that gave me a believable reason to move through the village asking careful questions without raising suspicion. The village had changed in some ways. A small primary school had been built. A borehole now provided cleaner water than the river once had, but the deeper current of belief that had condemned me at birth remained exactly the same, running quietly beneath the surface of everyday life. I visited the village land registry office first, using my legal cover to review old family compound records, a task that also, conveniently, gave me the exact location of my mother's home. My hands trembled slightly as I copied down the address, 22 years of buried history compressed into a single line of ink. The next morning, I arranged, through a legitimate legal errand regarding a boundary dispute, to visit my mother's compound directly. I told myself I was prepared. I was not. When I arrived at the gate, an elderly woman was sweeping the front of a modest, well-kept compound. She paused mid-motion as I approached, her eyes narrowing slightly, as if trying to place a face she felt she should recognize but could not quite locate in her memory. "Forgive me for staring. You look so much like someone I lost a long time ago. Please, come in. I don't get many visitors these days." I introduced myself using my professional name and the pretext of the boundary dispute, and she welcomed me inside with the easy hospitality of someone who had spent a lifetime in a small village, where strangers were still treated as guests rather than threats. We sat together for hours, far longer than any land dispute required. She spoke about her life, her late husband, and eventually, with a sadness that seemed to sit permanently behind her eyes, she spoke about a daughter she had lost a long time ago. A story she told carefully, vaguely, the way people speak about wounds still too raw to fully name. There was a time, many years ago, when I was forced to give up a child. It is not a story I tell often. Even now, I wonder what she would have looked like grown. I wonder if she is even still. She stopped herself, unable to finish the sentence. I could not bear the weight of the secret any longer. I set down my cup of tea, and I told her the truth. "Mama, I am Adiz. I am the daughter you were forced to bury 22 years ago. I did not die that night. I lived." My mother collapsed to her knees on the floor of her own sitting room, weeping uncontrollably, repeating apologies she had clearly held onto for over 2 decades. Words she had perhaps rehearsed in silence 1,000 times without ever expecting a chance to say them aloud. "I fought for you. I want you to know that I fought for you, but they would have destroyed this whole family if I had not agreed. I have thought of you every single day since. Every single day." "I know, Mama. I did not come here for an apology. I came here for the truth, and I already know most of it." It was in that raw, unguarded moment that a second figure appeared in the doorway, drawn by the sound of her mother's uncontrollable weeping. Someone who had clearly spent years listening carefully to every unusual sound in that compound, ready to retreat back into hiding at the first sign of danger. I found myself looking directly at my own face. The same eyes, the same jawline, softened only slightly by 22 years of a very different life. My twin sister, Amara, stood before me for the first time since the night we were separated as newborns. "Mama, why does she look like me? Why does this stranger have my face?" My mother, still on her knees, could only look between the two of us, unable to find the strength to speak the truth a second time. I rose slowly, crossed the room, and stood directly in front of the sister I never knew I had. "I am your sister, Amara, your twin. I was taken the night we were born, and for 22 years I did not know you existed. I am not here to hurt anyone. I only wanted to see your face." Neither of us spoke for a long moment. Then, without warning, Amara stepped forward and pulled me into an embrace so tight it seemed to carry the full weight of every year we had lost, every birthday neither of us had known to celebrate together, every moment of loneliness we had each carried separately, believing ourselves to be alone in the world. I had imagined this reunion for years, yet nothing had prepared me for the reality of standing face to face with my twin sister for the very first time. But my return to Ekamini was never only about reunion. Somewhere in this same village, the man who had ordered my death 22 years ago was still alive. Ez Okonkwo, the chief priest, still respected, still feared, and as I would soon discover, still quietly continuing the very same practice that had nearly ended my life before it began. In part 3, the final chapter of this story, I confront the man responsible for my burial, and I discover a secret about his continued practices that will shock this entire village to its core. If this story has moved you, please like this video, subscribe so you don't miss the finale, and let me know in the comments. Do you think Ngozi deserves forgiveness for the choice she was forced to make?